What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This is Lava Butte. Let's fish that. Alright guys, by the time this video is uploaded, we will be a little bit more than a week into our lockdown. Does this mean you're actually not allowed to go outside? Well, technically, no, you are allowed to go outside. So don't use that as an excuse not to take out the trash. Please just do remember that when you do go outside, to follow all the guidelines we have been given, practice social distancing, wash your hands regularly, do not touch your face, all of these things that the CDC says we have to practice to ensure that we do not spread the virus. I do not wish to bring up the coronavirus in each of my videos. Therefore, I would like to quickly just use a small portion of this video to just quickly talk about that, if you'll allow me. Okay, so the governor actually said that all non-essential businesses needs to be closed in Nevada. Therefore, stuff like gyms and stuff like that is closed. He also added that because the gyms and stuff are closed, if you actually need exercise, you kind of need to find an alternative way of exercising, and he kind of mentioned hiking. This gives me the idea that you are allowed to go outside. Just please try and keep your social contact with other people down to a minimum to try and stop the spread of the virus. Okay, so please do not take anything that I am telling you guys as advice to follow or something like that. So please follow the guidelines received through the CDC and the World Health Organization, rather than just listening to what I'm saying. We are out here in the middle of nowhere, not lots of people around. We didn't have any contact with any people. We are still socially distancing ourselves. We're just doing it out in nature where there's no one around. I would also like to stress that I'm not downplaying any of the effects or anything the coronavirus has. We need to take it serious. But if we look at it as a whole, from a faraway point of view, at the end of the day, the human race will survive this. We'll get through this, guys. So no need to panic for that reason. If you do, however, focus on smaller groups, more personal, I do think that each and every one of us actually knows someone. If you kind of think about it, you'll know someone that's in a high risk bracket. If you're not yourself, then you would probably know someone that is in a high risk bracket. So make sure to follow the guidelines and stay safe out there and try and minimize the spread of the virus. Okay, so after being inside for about a week, you kind of have to think of your own mental well-being as well. We decided to come out and enjoy nature while we're still allowed to. I also do understand that comedy is a way for the humankind to kind of deal with these crises, but I want to ask you guys to please, down in the comments, keep away from doing any jokes about the virus and stuff like that. Lots of people are affected negatively by this virus. There are unfortunately people dying. If you are someone that's been impacted by this, or if you've lost someone, I would just like to give my condolences to you. So stay strong and stay safe out there, guys. Okay, so that is all I want to say about that. I think it is time that we get to some fishing. Quite excited to fish this body of water. But before we can do that, I kind of need to explain to you guys where exactly it is that we are. So let's start off by explaining the map that we're looking at currently. This little area we have over here is the Clark County Wetlands Park. This is a little wetlands they have here, and through this there is a creek running out of it. This creek is known as Duckwater Creek. Right here we have a little retention wall in the creek that is actually known as the Wash. People call it Las Vegas Wash, but it's actually the Wash. This entire creek and the wetlands, because the wetlands are protected, this entire creek is also a protected area. You are not allowed to fish in this creek or in the wetlands up until where it runs into Lake Las Vegas. You are allowed to fish at Lake Las Vegas and beyond into Lake Mead. Right next to Lake Las Vegas is where the border begins for the Lake Mead Recreational Area, meaning where we are inside the Lake Mead Recreational Area, and we are going to Lava Butte. So the first time I fished this location, I parked the car here in the parking area, went down this little mountain, fished this part of the creek. That's where I got all the green sunfish. This time around we used this small little access road, quite a hike to get down to the different spot we wanted to go. There's also lots of hiking trails. I just found the road to be easier carrying all the equipment, and that brought us down to the creek. Now technically this is not yet Lava Butte Wash, as the wash is the part actually extending into Lake Mead. However, a couple years back when the lake was a lot fuller, the wash would have been up a lot higher. Recently they built little retention walls, so making some deeper pools and stuff like that, and this is the area that we were targeting. Alright guys, so now that we know where we are going to be spending the day trying to catch all sorts of fish from this little creek. If you read about this place, one guy said that there are no fish in here, it's a waste of time to come here. Other guys said that this is the perfect place if you want to catch some catfish. Each cast you get catfish. But I would like to see what fish are in here, so we're going to use all sorts of different lures and techniques to see what we can catch. So we saw a little carp here in the deeper pool in front of us. So we have this little rod out here with a piece of corn to see if we can get that carp to commit to that little corn. And then it's going to be very difficult to see, but in the waters here in front there's one of those little plated sucker fish. The ones you get in the pet store. I believe someone at some stage threw in one of their pets into this little river. That guy's down there. I'm quickly going to see if I can perhaps use a little piece of night crawler, maybe pique his interest or something, get him to bite on that. Alright, and then on this second rod I have some night crawlers out there, trying to see if we can get some sunfish or perhaps some of these little catfish and stuff. Have that out there. Have the two rods at the moment out there with some baits to see if we can get some of the fish I see swimming around in this pool. My wife is over there on the far side doing some fishing, trying to see if she can get something. This little creek is quite shallow on the one side, and then you have a deep drop off on this side. I'm going to go around wading in these waters, trying to find some pools where the water might be moving slowly, as this current down here in this creek part is moving rather quick. It's a lot slower in the shallow waters, but water is quite clear. You can obviously see there are no fish in the shallow parts. They are in the deeper waters, but it's hard to get the baits down to them if they keep washing away. So I'm going to be looking for little pools and places where the current is less strong and where the fish would prefer to be. Alright guys, we got a little shad here. That little fish was not caught on rod and reel. That fish was actually trapped on the rocks here. I grabbed it with my hands and I brought it out, but luckily he's now swimming. Hopefully he does not get washed over the falls again. Hopefully he can make his way to some safer waters. Alright guys, so obviously you have to be careful for stuff like snakes and all sorts of little animals and stuff coming to the water to drink. However, we also have to be vigilant of flash floods. With all the rain we've been having, we can have some flash floods. We seem to have a nice little hole on the other side with some fish jumping. I want to see if I can get to that side. It's quite dangerous crossing something like this, so please do be careful. Go slowly, see if you can make it. Don't try if you're not going to be able to get it up to the other side. Water is actually quite strong. It's quite a bigger force than you might think, so don't risk it if you're not sure you can make it. Alright, so after going around a bit, walking up and down the little creek here, coming over the little dam wall that they built, I found this little hole here. Seems to be a pretty active hole. I've seen one big tilapia, 3 carp, 4 little bass swimming around, and quite a few of these little shad jumping around. And we have a fish on. Good timing of this little guy. I think it might be a shad. Oh, it came off. The way it swam around, being all silver and stuff, it seemed to be a little shad. But I'm quickly gonna rebait and get this out there again. I don't think shad are known for going for little night crawlers. They're more algae eaters, but I think in this little river system, anything that looks like food, they'll go for it. Alright, so the little bass I saw swimming around here, they are quite small. So I think using normal sized lures, they are too big for them, so I'm swapping to a little small inline spinner. Let's see if we can get one of these bass to commit. Alright guys, we got a fish. I believe we have my first bass for 2020. Quite a large size for this small little creek. So you can imagine my annoyance when I started editing this video and discovered that I have 0 footage of my first bass of 2020. Likewise, I also have 0 footage of my second bass, but that's the way it goes. There were a lot of 5 to 7 inch little bass swimming around. They had no interest in my little spinnerbaits. The 2 I did manage to get, they kind of came out of a tree darting towards my little inline spinner, and that's the 2 I did manage to catch. Luckily, I took some photos, so at least I have some proof that I did catch these fish. However, there's no video footage, unfortunately, to show you guys. But luckily, this was not the only action for the day, so let's get back to the fishing. Alright guys, I was intrigued by this thing in the water that kept staring at me. It looked like it had eyes or something. Turns out this is actually some kind of stuffed animal or a stuffed teddy bear that kind of lost its stuffing, but it does actually have a face. So there was something staring at me the whole time. And we have a fish on, guys. Not sure what yet. Using light line, light hooks. I'm gonna let this fish kind of tire himself out. Putting up quite a fight. Looks to be a carp. I just want to try and get him around the tree. Quite a big carp for this small little rod. And again, with this light line, just want to play the fish rather than try to force it in. But I am trying to keep him away from that tree. Quite a good little strong carp for this little stream. Not wanting to give up. I don't know if you guys can see him yet. I only have 4-pound tests on. Still want to keep the pressure on the fish, but you don't want him to have too much pressure. Alright guys, and there we have ourselves a little carp. Alright guys, quite a big little carp for this small little creek. I'd say he's about 3 pounds. Something like 1.5 kilograms maybe. Nice, big, lovely carp. Quickly gonna get him back into the water. Alright guys, because we had quite a fight with this one, making sure he's fine, and off he goes. Nice little carp for this small hole we have on the creek. Okay, so that first couple of bites I think I had, I don't think they were shad. I think that was actually 2 of the big tilapias, but they seem to have grown aware of me and scampered off somewhere. We got 2 of the little bass, we got that nice little carp. Quickly gonna get some more bait on here and let's see if we can get any more. Alright, we have a small little bass here that I can see out here in the shallow water. I have a little very small trout magnet with a little worm imitation on there. Trying to see if I can get this bass to commit to this little worm looking thing. Alright guys, had a failed hook set on my little worm on the trout magnet. They now seem to be wary of that little thing. They won't be going for that anymore. So I'm switching over to a little bass imitation. Maybe another fish invading their space might get them a bit worked up. Seem to be working. That one wasn't too happy. Alright guys, another fish on. The way this fish is acting, I think this might actually be catfish. I realized last weekend only my wife caught catfish, I didn't, so this might be my first catfish for the year as well. Let's see if we can get him in. There we are guys. Channel catfish. Alright guys, there we go, my first channel catfish for 2020. Right, that means we now had bass, catfish, carp, almost had a little tilapia, caught the little shad with my hands. Let's quickly get this catfish back into the water. And there he goes, our little channel catfish. Alright guys, that's going to be it for today. Caught a couple of fish, excluding the little shad that I caught with my hands. We got 3 different species today. Not bad for a little creek in the middle of nowhere. We do know that there are green sunfish here, as the last time I was here I was a bit higher up in this little stream. That's where I caught the green sunfish. Seen lots of different fish around. Like I said, the little plated armored little sucker fish, they're not supposed to be in here, but there are quite a few swimming around. We have lots of shad swimming around, saw a couple of bass, lots of carp swimming around, a lot more fish than I thought there would be in this little stream. These fish are actually quite challenging to catch. I've had a couple of misses on a couple of fish. Obviously I'm not showing you guys all of the footage. However, there's a lot of fish that I didn't land, a lot of fish that came off, some of them ran into the bushes, stuff like that. A couple of problems I had, but overall pretty fun day out here catching all sorts of fish. Alright guys, if this is the first video of mine you are seeing, consider hitting the subscribe button, join my channel. This does help me out quite a lot, so do consider subscribing. Feel free to leave any comments. If you want to just type anything down there, go ahead, feel free to do so. Ask any questions, anything like that. If you enjoyed this little video, give us a little thumbs up liking the video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.